Welcome to the Bobcat Service Safety Training Course. Working safely and efficiently is the primary focus of this program. Whether this is your first day on the job or you're an experienced service technician, safe and efficient work practices can never be overstressed. Listen closely to the instructions provided by this video and your instructor. Knowledge is one of the key ingredients in developing safe work practices. Without it, you cannot recognize situations that, if not avoided, could result in an accident causing serious injury or death to you, someone working with you, or cause property or equipment damage. We have provided examples of safe maintenance and service work practices using currently manufactured Bobcat Skid Steer Loaders. If your loader differs from the examples shown, refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual, the machine signs or decals, the Bobcat Operator's Handbook, and EMI Skid Steer Loader Safety Manual. A service manual provided for your equipment by the Melro Company is also available. They are your best sources of safe and proper maintenance and service procedures designed specifically for your equipment. Use the Bobcat Parts Manual to locate part numbers. And to make sure you are receiving Bobcat-approved replacement parts, go to your Bobcat dealer. Sources of information for special service tools you might need are the Bobcat Special Service Tools Catalog and the One-Stop Tool Shop Catalog. You will see this safety alert symbol throughout this presentation, as well as in various manuals and on machine safety signs. It identifies important safety messages. When you see it, be alert to the possibility of serious injury or death. Always follow the instructions in the safety messages or other instructional machine signs. This symbol points out actions you should avoid to reduce the potential for serious injury or damage to the equipment. You are a professional. You take pride in your work. Working safely and efficiently starts with the proper work environment. This means keeping your workplace clean and organized. It also means following workplace rules your employer has established. For example, some insurance policies prohibit customers from entering the service shop area. And certain work sites may require personal protection equipment before you enter the work area. Before you learn about specific workplace rules, let's focus on the basics. These rules were developed for your safety and the safety of your coworkers, so listen carefully. Failure to follow any of them can lead to a serious injury or death. Wear safety glasses. Servicing and maintaining equipment can expose you to hazards that can seriously injure your eyes, such as pressurized fuel or hydraulic oil, battery acid, dirt, oil, and grease when you're working underneath a machine, or using an impact wrench, removing a snap ring, or using a hammer and punch. Use safety glasses and a face shield when you are grinding. Loose-fitting clothing can get caught in rotating parts or machines, and baggy pant legs can cause you to trip. Long hair can also get caught by rotating parts, causing serious injury to your scalp. Either keep your hair short or neatly tie it back. Wear appropriate work shoes designed for the workplace. Jewelry, including rings and watches, present their own hazards. Jewelry can get caught as you grasp onto something as you climb on or off the loader. This can result in torn skin or, worse, you can lose your finger. Rings or watches with metal wristbands can short between a battery terminal and ground while you are working on a machine. They heat up instantly, causing serious burns to the affected area. Know the rules for handling hazardous materials. Read and follow instructions printed on the label. And follow the instructions posted on material safety data sheets. Ask your supervisor for the specific rules on hazardous materials. Melro Company makes material safety data sheet information available, and they can be obtained from any Bobcat dealer. Clean up fuel engine oil, hydraulic oil, and other fluid spills immediately to prevent an accident from someone slipping or creating a potential fire hazard. Smoke only in designated areas away from flammable material, which may burn or explode when exposed to lighted tobacco. Note the location of all fire extinguishers in your shop and know how to use them. A few seconds' time can be a lifetime during a fire. Use caution when you lift and carry heavy items in the shop. Protect your back. Let your legs do the work. You may need a helper to lift some items. Use caution when working on elevated surfaces such as a step stool, ladder, or lift arm crossmember. When you are finished, be careful what you use as a handhold, and don't jump off. Use the loader steps and grab handles. Now let's turn our attention to maintaining and servicing Bobcat equipment. First, we will discuss what to do when the machine arrives at the shop, and next, give you some tips to use when you are working around the machine in the shop. When you service the machine, complete any outstanding field modifications. Never run the engine without proper ventilation. Exhaust fumes can kill. If you run the engine with the cab tipped up or the tailgate open, be careful of rotating components. Remember to always put the loader up on jack stands. Rotating components include the blower fan drive belt and pulley, blower fan drive idler, and blower fan. Alternator fan, alternator belt, and alternator pulley. And the engine flywheel fan, drive belt, and drive belt tensioner pulley. Certain engine components, hydraulic components, and some fluids can reach temperatures over 200 degrees Fahrenheit or 93 degrees Celsius during operation. Gloves will help protect your hands when you handle or work near hot fluids and components such as the radiator or oil cooler, exhaust system, and hydraulic and hydrostatic fittings, tube lines, and hoses. Know how to work with fluids and mechanical devices that can be under pressure. Check for hydraulic fluid leaks using a piece of cardboard or wood. Do not use your bare hands. Remember to wear safety glasses. Hydraulic oil can be under very high pressure. A pinhole leak is not easily seen, and if it pierces your skin can cause gangrene and possibly death if not treated immediately by a physician familiar with this type of injury. Hot coolant and steam can spray out of the radiator if you remove the cap while the radiator is still hot. Let the radiator cool before you remove the cap, and always wear gloves. Gas cylinders also contain high-pressure gas. Opening a gas cylinder can suddenly release stored energy, and the rod could strike you or a coworker, causing serious injury or death. If it needs to be replaced, order a new one. Do not try to open it. Springs can be under a lot of tension. Use caution when you remove or install them to avoid a serious accident. And remember to wear safety glasses. The hub has a taper fit and can come off the axle with great force. When servicing the axle, make sure you use a hub bolt and washer while you are removing it. Since the hub design varies on some loader models, refer to the Bobcat service manual for the proper procedure. Never stand in line of the hub when you remove a hub from an axle. Use caution when you charge or service the battery. Read and follow the battery manufacturer's warnings and instructions before you service or charge batteries. Batteries produce flammable and explosive gases. Keep arcs, sparks, flames, and lighted tobacco away to prevent an explosion. When you are using tools around a battery connection, make sure you don't short the positive terminal to ground. This causes a spark, which can create an explosion hazard and the tool can get extremely hot immediately. If you need to do any electrical work, remove the negative or ground battery cable first. This avoids damage to electrical components when you remove and replace them. Your Bobcat Service Manual and Operation and Maintenance Manual has the correct procedure for using a booster battery to jump-start the machine. Always connect the negative end last at the engine frame of the loader being charged. Remember, do not jump-start or charge a frozen or damaged battery. When you service or change tires, follow these helpful hints. Improper tire service procedures can lead to an explosion, causing a serious injury. Check and make sure the tire and rim sizes are the same. If they are not, the tire could explode when it is mounted on the rim. Do not inflate tires above the maximum pressure stated on the sidewall. Follow the recommended tire inflation guidelines in your Operation and Maintenance Manual. Do not use ether as a starting aid unless you use it with a Melro-approved cold starting kit. Ether is flammable and explosive. Your instructor will discuss the service and maintenance procedures presented in this section of the program and provide additional workplace rules. Listen carefully. Your safety is important to a lot of people. In this section of the Service Safety Training course, we will focus on hydraulics, learn about its characteristics, and its importance to equipment such as Bobcat Skid Steer Loaders. You will find that hydraulic systems perform many important functions, but they require proper service and maintenance procedures. Hydraulics is a broad term and is defined as the study of moving fluids and fluids under pressure. A fluid can be a liquid or gas. Gases can be compressed. Liquids cannot be compressed. Hydraulic oil is a liquid, so what happens at one end of the system is transmitted to the other end without the free play found in systems that consist of a series of clutches and gears. Pressure is the measure of how much force a fluid exerts against a specific area. It causes a balloon to expand as you blow it up. It causes soda to spray out of a can if it is shaken. It causes a tire to expand as you inflate it. A typical tire is inflated so its pressure measures 30 to 70 pounds per square inch, or PSI. In contrast, the pressure range of a typical Bobcat Loaders hydraulic system is 0 to 3,000 PSI. Hydrostatic systems can reach peak pressures of over 5,000 PSI. You may ask, why should we study hydraulics? You need to know basic hydraulic fundamentals before you repair hydraulic systems and set up Bobcat equipment. When you study hydraulics, you will learn about two types of systems, hydraulic and hydrostatic. The skid steer loader's hydraulic system is used to raise and lower the lift arms or tilt the attachment, and operate attachments using the auxiliary hydraulic system, while the hydrostatic system supplies the energy needed to rotate the wheels. Hydraulic and hydrostatic systems are used in Bobcat skid steer loaders. Both systems share components, such as the hydraulic oil reservoir, an oil cooler that helps remove heat that results when both systems perform work and transform energy, a hydraulic oil filter that removes contaminants, and hoses, tube lines, and fittings that transfer hydraulic oil from one component to the next. One of the unique components in the hydraulic system is the hydraulic pump. The pump creates hydraulic oil flow, which is measured in gallons per minute, or GPM for short. Pressure develops in the hydraulic system when flow from the pump is restricted. Hydraulic systems also include hydraulic control valves and diverter valves with relief valves that limit maximum system pressures. Hydraulic control and diverter valves direct oil flow to and from the lift cylinders, tilt cylinders, and attachments through front and rear auxiliary hydraulic connectors. Notice that both lift cylinders are connected together in a closed system. If you loosen a fitting in the hose or tube line supplying hydraulic oil to one of the lift cylinders, the lift cylinder rod retracts when under load because the hydraulic pressure supporting the rod is reduced. Since the lift cylinders are connected together in a closed system, the pressure on the other lift cylinder is also reduced to equalize total system pressure. As a consequence, the rod in the opposite lift cylinder also retracts. One of the unique components in the hydrostatic system is the hydrostatic pump. Oil flow from the hydrostatic pump is controlled by the steering levers, which causes the oil to flow to the hydrostatic motors. These motors transform force created by the hydrostatic pumps into rotary motion to turn the wheels. Now that you understand some basic hydraulic and hydrostatic fundamentals, let's turn our attention to the type of accidents that could happen if you do not use proper maintenance and service procedures when you are working with these systems. Remember that hydraulic oil can reach pressures over 5,000 psi. Always use a piece of cardboard or wood to check for leaks, and always wear gloves and safety glasses. A pinhole leak is not easily seen, and if it pierces your skin, it can cause gangrene and possibly death if not treated immediately by a physician familiar with this type of injury. Disconnecting or loosening any hydraulic tube line, hose, fitting, or component in the lift cylinder circuit, or the failure of any hydraulic component in the circuit, can cause the lift arms to drop with or without the engine running. Always lower the lift arms and place the attachment or bucket flat on the ground to release all stored energy before you start servicing a loader. But if you decide to work on the loader with the lift arms raised, you must always use an approved lift arm support. If your loader does not have one, you can purchase the correct one for your loader from your Bobcat dealer. If you don't use an approved lift arm support, the lift arms can drop, causing serious injury or death. Here are some examples. If you disconnect or loosen a lift cylinder tube line, hose, or hose fitting, the lift arms will fall. The other lift cylinder will not support the raised lift arms. Disconnecting or loosening any hydraulic component in the lift arm circuit, such as a tube line connected to the hydraulic control valve, will have similar consequences. Never use a prop, object, or an attachment such as a bucket or hydraulic breaker to support raised lift arms instead of an approved lift arm support. If you do, and you loosen both tilt and lift fittings, the attachment will rotate and allow the lift arms to fall. Or the front end of the loader can raise up, causing serious injury or death because you have changed the weight distribution of the entire loader. Moral of the story? Keep the lift arms lowered. If you work under raised lift arms, always use an approved lift arm support. If it is damaged in any way, replace it. Always keep these hydraulic principles and servicing tips in mind when you connect hydraulic test equipment to the loader. Make sure the tester has been properly maintained and is not damaged. Remember, hydraulic pressures can exceed 3,000 psi. And if you need more training in hydraulics, the Bobcat Hydraulics Manual, available from your Bobcat dealer, is an excellent source of information on hydraulic systems. Or call your Bobcat dealer for additional training. Up to this point, you have learned common workplace rules and some of the basic fundamentals of hydraulics and how to properly maintain and service these systems. Now it's time to focus on learning more about Bobcat Skid Steer Loaders and learn how to service and maintain them safely and efficiently. Skid steer loaders are self-propelled machines that are unique in their compact, rugged, and highly maneuverable design. Equipped with four-wheel drive, the skid steer loader has two independent transmissions, one to power the left wheels and one to power the right. This permits independent control of left and right side wheel speed and direction of wheel rotation. It's this kind of independent control that causes the loader to skid steer. Because of these design principles, skid steer loaders are known for their ability to turn in their own tracks, which makes them extremely valuable in applications requiring a compact and highly maneuverable machine. Bobcat skid steer loaders have easy access for service. All normal service and maintenance can be done with the lift arms lowered. An easy opening tailgate provides access to the engine and engine components. For example, all engine service points are found on the exposed side of the engine. The filters are also accessible, as is the battery. A drain hose or fitting is included to make changing engine oil a snap. The oil cooler can be lifted up for easy cleaning. Access to the hydraulic and hydrostatic components is also easy. Remove 2 nuts and washers and tip up the cab. It's that simple. Before we go much further, we should mention that to service or maintain a Bobcat skid steer loader, you should be familiar with the operation of the machine. Your Bobcat dealer has the following operator training materials available. The Bobcat Skid Steer Loader Operator Training Course, also available in Spanish, offers a comprehensive package containing a video, hands-on exercises, and classroom training. Melro Company offers additional training courses for certain Bobcat-approved attachments. See your dealer for availability. And the short 10-minute Bobcat Skid Steer Loader safety video provides a quick overview of the rules you need to know about to operate Bobcat skid steer loaders safely. Now that you have an appreciation for Bobcat skid steer loaders, let's follow the steps you should take if you need to transport a loader to the area where it will be serviced. With an empty bucket, a light attachment, or no attachment at all, the rear of the loader is heavier, so back the machine onto the trailer and drive forward off the trailer. If an attachment makes the front end of the loader the heavy end, drive the loader forward onto the trailer and back it off. Lower the attachment so it rests flat on the trailer bed. Set the parking brake and secure the loader using tie downs as explained in the Bobcat Operation and Maintenance Manual. Make sure you know what is wrong with the loader before you start the engine, either by reviewing the machine's service history or inspecting the machine. In many cases, a loader is brought in for service that is not operational. Essential parts such as the steering linkage may be missing or disconnected. Always get on the loader and sit in the operator's seat before you start the machine. Never attempt to start or operate the loader when you are not in the operator's seat. Accidental activation of a control or an improperly adjusted control could cause the machine or lift arms and attachment to suddenly move, causing serious injury or death. Make sure bystanders are out of the way. And set the engine speed throttle to the low idle position before you start the engine. If you start the engine without knowing its service history and a component such as the steering linkage is disconnected, accidental movement of the loader can occur that could injure someone else or cause property damage. If the loader needs to be stopped immediately, turn the ignition switch to the off position. Or pull the manual fuel shutoff knob to the up position. A manual fuel shutoff is used on some other Bobcat skid steer loader models. When the loader is being serviced, check the loader's safety components. Check the cab to make sure the rollover protective structure, or ROPS, The falling object protective structure, or FOPS, and cab side screens are not damaged or modified in a way that would jeopardize the operator's protection during normal operation if the loader rolls over or is struck by a falling object. Also check for missing cab mounting hardware and the cab latch. Your Bobcat dealer can inspect the cab to determine whether it can be repaired or needs to be replaced. Also check for the proper function of the seat bar restraint system and pedal interlocks. Seat belt. Parking brake. Lift arm support. Bob Attach. And Bobcat Interlock Control System, or BICS system. Also make sure the lift arm bypass control knob functions properly. And the emergency exit in the rear of the loader is not obstructed. Finally, check for and replace any missing or damaged machine signs and make sure the Bobcat operator's handbook is stored inside the cab. In short, all safety components should be maintained, serviced, and checked for proper function before the loader is placed back into operation. When you leave the loader, always remember to lower the lift arms until the attachment is flat on the ground. Shut off the engine. Engage the parking brake. Raise the seat bar. Release your seat belt. Move the operator controls until they are locked. Remove the ignition key and exit the loader. Remember that you should keep the lift arms down when you work on the loader. Normal service and maintenance procedures can be performed with the lift arms down. If you decide to raise and support the lift arms while you are working on the loader, always use an approved lift arm support. The proper procedure to engage and disengage the support is printed on a decal located on the loader or the lift arm support. If the approved lift arm support is built into the loader, only one person is needed to engage the device. Remove the attachment first by releasing both Bob Attach levers. When you enter or exit the loader with the attachment removed, you should still use the grab handles and steps. Unhook the spring from the pin. Hold the lift arm support and remove the pin. Lower the lift arm support to the top of the lift arm cylinder and hook the spring into the slot on top of the lift arm support. Enter the loader, fasten your seat belt, lower your seat bar, and start the engine. Raise the lift arms until the lift arm support drops on the cylinder rod. Lower the lift arms until they stop. Stop the engine. Install the pin into the back end of the lift arm support. The pin helps prevent the support from coming disengaged. Some Bobcat loader models have a different type of lift arm support that requires 2 people to install. Remove the attachment. Have your helper remove the lift arm support from its storage location. While you are seated in the loader, start the engine. Raise the lift arms fully and have your helper properly position the lift arm support on the cylinder rod. Make sure the curved notch is at the top end of the support and the open side of the support faces down or to the front of the machine. Lower the lift arms until the lift arm support is firmly supported between the lift arm and lift cylinder. If you need to raise the cab, you must place one jack stand under the rear of the machine, since about 70% of the loader's weight is over the rear axles. If you don't use a jack stand, the loader could tip backwards. Remove the cab hold-down nuts and plates and tip the cab back using the grab handles and making sure the cab latch engages. If you are servicing the cab latch or gas cylinders, you should also remove the rubber cab stop so the cab opens to its full height and all pressure on gas cylinders is removed. Be careful not to damage the cab's back window if your machine is equipped with one. If you need to replace the cab latch, a gas cylinder, or need extra support for other situations described in your Bobcat service manual, use a chain or chain hoist to support the cab in the raised position. If the loader has hand controls, make sure the controls are in neutral and the engine is shut off before you raise or lower the cab. This will avoid accidental movement of the control levers. When the engine needs to be started during service or maintenance, you need one jack stand under each front axle tube and two under the rear frame corners. Make sure the jack stands are rated to support the weight of the loader. With the loader on 4 jack stands, you can activate the steering lever controls with the engine running, and you don't have to worry about accidentally engaging one of the levers causing the loader to move. If you need to start the engine with the cab tipped up, use the remote start switch, which is available from your Bobcat dealer. To use the switch, connect it to the wiring harness and make sure the loader is up on jack stands. Your instructor will demonstrate or discuss the procedure. The switch has a traction lock control, so you can override the traction lock and operate the steering control levers to rotate the wheels. Remember, keep bystanders away from the rotating wheels when you override the traction lock. The remote start switch also has an auxiliary hydraulics mode switch, so you can run attachment hydraulics with the cab tipped up. Note that when all loader repairs are complete, check all controls and safety components to make sure they are functioning properly. You can use the checklist in the front of your Bobcat service manual to help you perform this important procedure. Understanding how to service and maintain Bobcat equipment to do your job better and safer is the goal of this course. This video, your instructor's guidance, and the variety of Bobcat resource materials have the information you need to perform your job professionally. Now it's your turn. Use what you have learned to become a safer and more efficient professional. Be that service professional.